Morning! Happy Wednesday. Today is January 15th. Hope everybody's having a good week. I know I am. Pretty busy one at that. I'm sure people are curious as to what's happening with those Imperial cycle frames, which is going to be our main topic today. Finished up those triangles quite a while ago. I haven't shown those to you yet. And I've been working on those rear loop tails, which I've mentioned numerous times, but ran into a few obstacles, which is normal when working on a new frame design. I have fabricated these frames in the past, however Eric changed it up by pulling the wheelbase in and moving that rear wheel forward, which forced me into retooling and redesigning those rear loop tails. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to pause midway, which is basically from that point forward, what I sent to Eric to give him his options. So let's go ahead and get things started and see what's happening with peak cycles. Finally got around to cleaning this bench off. These are the sticks for the Imperial cycle frames. We're going to do an assembly line style and tack the triangles up so we can get them up here on the jig.
Boom. Got the triangles all tacked. The miters all nice and tight. Coped for the bottom bracket. Let's get these up on the frame jig.
Frame jig all dialed in. First triangle up. Everything tuned in. Head tube brake. Bottom bracket spacing tacked in. Triangle tacked. Again, I did the finish welds here on these two miters. As mentioned before, much easier to reach than when you have your rear stays already welded in. Got the seat post hole solid. And we are ready for the fun part. Let's bend some loop tails.
Measure twice, cut once, they say. Or in this case, bend once. What I'm doing here is leveling up the loop tail with the bender. The bottom bend there is where it meets the triangle. Getting ready to do the top one here. Make sure we're squared up.
And so there we go. I think we finally have a handle on this loop tail. Now, how many times in past segments I've mentioned to take notes. This stick is full of notes and will now become a template going forward. Our first stab. After working out all the kinks, now to mirror it. So far so good, and as mentioned, I did run into a few obstacles. This frame design is actually kind of tricky, even though it looks very simple, as it has a nice flow up over the top. And in order to keep that in line with single piece stays, it's not as easy as just cutting and mitering and making everything work. So, what I'm about to show you is what I sent Eric to give him his options. Let's go ahead and take a look. So with this new frame design, obviously the rear wheel was brought forward substantially. And with that, in order to get the dropouts closer to the triangle, you have to open up the stays here in order for them to meet in the proper place of the triangle there. Problem is that the bend here is much broader than the original design, also much broader than what my bender is capable of. Here's a stick I bent, laid over the top. You can see how much tighter this is. I don't have a die that is that broad. However, I do have a solution. I'll show you here in a minute. The geometries are exactly the same as your illustration, your head tube to your seat tube to your bottom bracket, the wheelbase. Everything's exactly the same except for your rear dropouts are 1 inch this direction. And the reason for that, because we had to make up for the angle on the loop tails. To me, the most important line of all of this is that top line right here. Top tube to the seat stay. If I pull in the dropouts even 1 more inch here, in order for these to meet where they're at, it's going to have an illusion of spreading out a little more further this way. if we do that, what's going to happen is this transition right here is going to look like a kink. It's going to come down, and then it's going to have to drop in order to meet that dropout right there. Something else I did take into consideration is that if we want to keep this transition here smooth and move the dropout forward, as mentioned, by moving the dropout forward, it creates this illusion of having a kink right here. This comes down here, this has to pull in tighter. So we have to reposition the entire loop tail up, right about like that. No problem there. We pull this a little tighter, bend this a little later so it meets the triangle okay. Problem is now is this dropout is up here. And not only is this position based on the illustration, but it's also positioned based on the wheel size designed for this frame. By moving the dropout up, you're essentially moving the entire frame down, lower to the ground. And we don't want to do that. So to me, it looks great. Up to you what you want to do. Let me know. Gotta love it. As for what we end up going with, gotta keep it right here on the Peak Cycles YouTube channel. Time for me to get my morning ride in. That'll pretty much wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed today's version of what's happening at Peak Cycles. And until next time, make it a killer day.